starting a new class also on Saturday afternoons for like sort of like beginners to meditation.
Oh, okay.
You tell him.
Yeah, we can tell him. We'll tell him. Yeah. Very good.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and should we start with the chanting, Prashant, now?
Yes, Bhante, we are ready.
Okay. So for those who like, we'll chant the Namo Tassa and the three refuges. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. So friends, welcome to this Sunday afternoon program. And we're continuing to look at some verses in the Dhammapada. And today we are beginning chapter 4 in the Dhammapada, the chapter on flowers, or Pushpavaga, the flowers. So that will, the meaning of that will hopefully come clear as we read some of these suttas. So I'm going to, this is in the overall Dhammapada. If you have a Dhammapada that's listing the verses, not necessarily by chapter, but through the whole Dhammapada, this is verses 44 and 45 are kind of a twin verse, and then verse 46. So we'll see how far we get in these verses. Very useful reflections. So I'm going to again read the Pali and then the English translation, and then discuss the deeper meaning of that and the story. Ko imam pataving vijissati yamalokancha imam sadevikam ko dhamma padam sudesitam kusalo pupam iva pachesati seko pataving vijissati yamalokancha imam sadevakam seko dhamma padam sudesitam kusalo pupam iva pachesati. I'm going to read the English translation of this. Who will comprehend this earth and this realm of Yama and this world together with the Devas who will investigate the well-taught path of virtue, even as an expert garland maker will pick the flowers. So this is where the flowers is mentioned, but in a kind of a little analogy. So this first verse, who will comprehend this earth and this realm of Yama? So the Buddha is kind of like asking a question. And he doesn't mean necessarily the physical earth, but he's reflecting on the self. So this earth can mean like the 5 aggregates, and also the self, because it's the self that holds the mind down to rebirth and the process of rebirth. So that's what it's implying. Who will comprehend this earth and this realm of Yama and the world together with the Devas? So the realm of Yama refers to the woeful states, including the animal realm and the asuras and the pretas and the hells. And so it's really talking about the whole samsara. Who will comprehend this samsara? And who will investigate the path of virtue, which is the path leading to the end of the earth, or the end of conditioned existence, to the end of suffering. So there's a lot of very, it's a very loaded phrase. It encompasses who, basically it means who will understand this Dhamma, and who will investigate the well-taught path of virtue. So this is the analogy to a garland of flowers. So, a necklace of flowers like the leis that, you get when you land in Hawaii, or maybe, 30, 40 years ago, when a plane came to Hawaii, you get off the plane, you're given a lei, right? So, but even in India, they use garlands, flower garlands quite a lot. So like well-picked flowers, an expert will pick the best flowers. So the Buddha picked the best things to make his garland of the Eightfold Path. Basically, the Eightfold Path is like a garland, right? It's a wheel, depicted as a wheel. So a circle. So a garland is also like a circle of flowers. And they're thread together, all of the steps of the Eightfold Path. It's called the path of virtue, the path of sila, samadhi, and panya. So that's what it's referring to. And then the answer to that question is in that second verse. A disciple in training, the seka. The disciple in training will comprehend this earth and this realm of Yama, together with the realm of Devas. A disciple in training will investigate the well-taught path of virtue, even as an expert garland maker will pick the flowers. So a garland maker doesn't pick soiled flowers or damaged flowers, right? So the Buddha also picked the most exquisite and wholesome mental states and qualities that he weaves into, strings together in the Eightfold Path: right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. These are like those, fragrant smelling, beautiful flowers. And when they're all stringed together and functioning properly, that's the garland of virtue, and which leads to, liberation. So wonderful. So now I'm going to read the story that goes with this. So the monks had been sitting around amongst themselves, talking about the extent of the earth, or some of the other ascetics, or we're talking about, how wide is this earth, the scientists these days say, well, the earth is 26,000 miles in circumference, or it's 100 or so 200 miles in diameter, and the crust is so and so thickness, and so on. So, they talk about this physical earth. And so even the monks were sitting around maybe talking about this, the earth. And then the Buddha came in and, heard their discussion. And that's when the Buddha gave this verse. Because the Buddha always gave these Dhammapada verses whenever an appropriate occasion arose. So the Buddha advised them to meditate on the personal earth element. And basically in the commentaries, that's described as what I already mentioned in the beginning, that the earth element, everything that gives rise to the earth element and holds our mind, binds our mind to the wheel of samsara, you could say in a more general and elaborated idea, that's the earth element. And the gravity is what holds us down to the earth. Gravity is basically our accumulated karma and our greed and attachment and craving to experience things. That's what binds our mind to the wheel of karma, right? And we make all of our karma based on attachment, aversion, wanting, not wanting, and that becomes the fuel for, to generate more rebirth, the future rebirth. So the Buddha was advising them, don't pay so much attention to this physical earth, but pay attention to the factors that hold the mind to the wheel of suffering, to the earth element of suffering. And so a disciple in training. So the first verse says, who will understand this? Not the average layperson, no. Not the average person. But who will understand it? A disciple in training, a seka. That means somebody who's reached the path of sotapanna already. So it's referring to sotapannas, once returners, never returners, arhants. They will comprehend or understand this earth and all the realms of possible rebirth. And they will investigate and investigate this well-taught path of virtue, concentration, and wisdom, which is basically the sila, samadhi, and panya, which is, the eightfold path. And basically, it's the earth. You could say that the deepest meaning of the earth is, the ego, clinging to the sense of self or myself, I, me, and mine. So that glue of I, me, and mine is like the glue. It glues our attention to the senses, I, me, and mine. for all the sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and even thoughts, the various sense objects, is the glue that attracts the consciousness. So, with contact, again, you have to understand the paticca samuppada that we've talked about so many times. Dependent on contact arises feeling. And that's the consciousness going towards those sensory contacts and becomes like glue. The mind gets glued to what you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. You remember a thought or a memory in your mind, and you get glued to it. Oh, he beat me, he hurt me, he cursed me, this, and everything revolves around I, me, or mine. And that's really the essence of the suffering. The whole, the five aggregates is, bound together with that. So that's the deeper meaning of this, of these verses. And so, this is really Buddhist poetry. I mean, the highest form of poetry. When I read normal poetry, whatever, all these, none of that interests me. Only the Buddhist poetry really interests me. Or even like the Bhagavad Gita, there's also is similar to the Dhammapada in terms of its verses, but still, that's this poetry that's based on this deeper wisdom. This is the real poetry, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. But anyway, so that's the meaning of it. And so it's the disciples, only the Sotapanna who's had that glimpse of no self, because the criterion for entering the stream is that first full, powerful experience of no self, which destroys the fetter of personality, belief, and attachment to rites and rituals and so on. And so, they will understand, their understanding has just begun. So even a Sotapanna, their understanding has just begun, but that's why they will comprehend it, because their mind has gotten hooked. It's got the hook of the Dhamma. When you get insights, it's like a hook, a fish swallows a hook, right? And gets hooked by that. And so the same way, when we get a very deep insight through meditation in the Dhamma and recognizing something about our mind, it's we get hooked on the Dhamma, because that means we, in a good way, that means we want to, get closer to that. We want to explore that more. So, and that exploration is investigating this eightfold path, because that's right understanding. Right understanding is the first step, and right understanding means attaining Sotapanna. That's what it means. Despite what anybody else says, that's really the right understanding begins with entering the stream, because they're the ones that have clearly seen the Dhamma. And that's why it's called the supramundane eightfold path. Of course, people who have not reached Sotapanna, they can, of course, gain some understanding, even, through, intermediate, beginning and intermediate stages of meditation. Of course, they get interested and they get some insights, and that's what keeps them prodding along, hoping one day they, that they'll, have this, deeper experiences, and it does happen. But that's when you really investigate and you thread these flowers, and you understand how the Noble Eightfold Path is held together, and all these 8 steps of the Eightfold Path are like beautiful flowers on this garland or necklace of the Dhamma. So anyway, that's how the the analogy of the flowers, came up. So again, if anybody has any questions as we're going through this, you can write them down, for the on the chat list, and we can look at them at the end. And another in the commentaries to the Dhammapada, it's the flower garland is also what is called the 37 factors of enlightenment, or the Bodhipakya Dhamma, which includes the four foundations of mindfulness, the four right efforts, the four means of accomplishment, the five powers, and the five indriyas, and the 7 factors of enlightenment. All these things would be considered to be like flowers on that garland. Now, I'm going to go over this next verse, number 46. Again, I'll read the Pali. Venupamam kayamimam viditva marichidammam abhisambuddhano Chetvana marasa papupakani adasanam machurajasa gachi. This is another one of my favorite verses. Knowing that this body is like foam, and understanding its mirage nature, one should destroy the flower shafts of sensual passions and pass beyond the sight of the king of death. So now here the word, the flowers is an analogy for sensual passions. So in the first 2 verses, the analogy to the flowers was the wisdom, the factors of wisdom, and of the Noble Eightfold Path. Whereas in this verse, the flowers are considered the flower shafts of sensual passions, because people get smitten by sensual passions, right? If they see a beautiful, man or woman, depending on their choice, this dart of passion gets into the heart. Oh, I want to meet that person, or some other thing, like getting attached to any kind of sensual beauty, whether it's whatever it might be, a sight or even a smell or a taste and so on. But so one should destroy the flower shafts of sensual passions, Mara, and pass beyond the sight of the king of death. King of death is also the Mara. So this the first part of this verse, knowing that this body is like foam, and comprehending its mirage nature. First one has to do that. And I think I've mentioned in some other verses, the five aggregates have also been, a nice analogy. The five aggregates is this material form is like foam, should be seen. Person with keen eyesight, it means the eyesight of wisdom, sees this material body is like foam. It doesn't have any more substance than a lump of froth floating on the edge of a lake or polluted lake, or on a river. Everyone's probably has seen that. Because if a person gets a stick, from a distance it looks like that foam is solid, like it might be a piece of styrofoam floating on the water. But if a person gets a stick and goes over to it and sticks the stick into that foam, it's just hollow inside, basically, and he can just kind of go like this, and the whole piece of foam will, be scattered. So in the same way that this material body, it has the four, is comprised of basically just the four elements, and it can be scattered very easily too. Like you put it on a funeral pyre and it will be reduced to ashes within a couple of hours. But anyway, so understanding that this body, as well as all the material things on the earth, their ultimate nature is like without any substantial core. Because basically everything is just, cells and atoms and essentially electrons. And so when you break it down to its deepest level, and when you meditate, you can also get this kind of experience. A paradigm shift in consciousness occurs, and you experience that this body feels like an empty bag of air, not the solid. And that's it's a mental experience. So anyway, knowing that this body is like foam, comprehending its mirage nature, one should destroy the flower shafts of sensual passions, knowing that all these sensual passions also, they're the source of suffering and the source of keeping the mind, in its bound to the wheel of ignorance and suffering. And of course, overcoming the sensual passions is one of the strongest glues to this world. And pass beyond the sight of the king of death. The king of death is basically Mara, but Mara is also just the wheel of impermanence. And Mara is basically the ignorance in the mind. So there's a story that goes with this verse. It says, the sight of a mirage and bubbles of foam caused the monk to meditate on the impermanence and non-substantiality of life. So, a monk on his own, maybe he had heard, some lectures of the Buddha about this. So, he went out to meditate, and he was kind of maybe focusing on that. Just trying to, this idea of things being a mirage or like bubbles of foam, even like the body, when you experience the body as just subtle vibrations and, occurring in empty space without any concrete shape or so on. That's how you meditate on the body. By understanding that this body is just energy and it's only illusion that creates its feeling of solidity. Anyway, so the monk was meditating on this, and the Buddha, he could read people's minds. So he understood, he read the monk's mind, he saw him meditating. Ah, look at this monk, he's meditating on this, and that's good. That's, he's meditating the way I taught him. And so the Buddha appeared before him and said, and then gave this verse. And so those are the these verses that I wanted to recite or to go over, because again, this is really the essence of wisdom, and there's no getting around it, without understanding these truths. The mind is not going to reach any real state of liberation until these truths about the body are understood, and the body, not only this physical body, but body in the greater. It includes the ego consciousness and all the things that are on this earth or any other conditioned realm. So in understanding that the five aggregates, so I mentioned the five aggregates are like, the material aggregate is like the foam. The feelings are like water bubbles. Water bubble comes up from the bottom of a lake, and then, if you see it underneath, it looks like a bubble, right? But once it gets to the surface, it just bursts and there's nothing there. It bursts into nothingness, right? Well, you've seen those soap bubbles, when you were young and you had a jar of soap and a plastic thing, and and a nice colorful bubble comes out. It looks something like real, but within 2 or 3 seconds, it bursts into nothing. So the same way our feelings are to be contemplated like that. And the perceptions are like the mirage. So we perceive this body to be solid. That's because of the ignorance in our mind. So it appears like a mirage. And, people think that there's water out there on the desert, but it's a mirage, right? And there's no water there. But it appears to that. So in the same way, that's the way the Buddha advises to contemplate, perceptions like a mirage, and the formations, the mental formations, which include the sense of I and self, have no essential core. They're like a banana tree trunk, which has just an empty core inside. You strip away all the layers of banana bark skin, and then you come inside and there's no core there. No substantial kind of permanent core. And then consciousness is considered to be like the magical illusion, which also includes the sense of I, which arises like a magical illusion. So anyway, this is, both of these verses are, pointing at developing this kind of understanding, because that's, that culminates in, entering the stream, the mind entering the stream of Dhamma. And until one understands that, one is always going to kind of be going around in circles. It's quite a cyclic, the cyclic nature of the mind, going around in repeated circles, instead of the spiral evolution, which is the mind actually breaking out and spiraling out of that gravity that keeps, gravity keeps the earth going around the sun, right? That's because of the gravity. Or if these rocket ships in orbit, it's the gravity of the earth that's holding the spaceship to go around the earth like this, right? But if it has enough propellant, it can break powerful enough, it can break the the pull of gravity, and the spaceship goes out into space where there's no gravity. So in the same way, entering the stream is similar to that you've penetrated that gravity, at least to some extent. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with you in these verses. So now I'd like to see if there's any questions that have come up about any of them. This verse, can you send us the link for Polygatha? You know, it's easier, just Google it. Google Dhammapada, and you will get links to the Dhammapada. You can look up all the verses. So that's easier rather than me having to go and put these on links and send them all out. So just, you know, use Google. That's what it's for. You can find anything in Google. Even just put the flowers verses of Dhammapada and it will come up. So that's what I would recommend. You got to do the research yourself. If I'm just telling you all these things, then the next time you'll ask again and again. But when you understand how to do it yourself, you can instantly research anything. So, I mean, that's why I'm giving this answer, because I want to encourage people to learn these tools that you can research these. It's all there, just the Dhammapada. And there's different types of translations of Dhammapada. And you can just go to verses of 44, 45, and 46 and probably find them without too much difficulty. Is that right, Prashant? Help me out, Prashant.
Yes, Bhante.
Okay. Because even while we've had in other classes, I think John Wilson, some other people have instantly put up links to some of the suttas that I was going over. So, and I sent these out actually on the, no, I didn't send out the links. That's right. I'm not sending out the links to the Dhammapada because you know, I like to be flexible, and sometimes I don't know which verse I'm going to do until an hour, 10 minutes before the class starts. So. Okay, this next question. Can you explain the meaning of yama and hell is not permanent according to Buddhism? Is it more mental or psychological than physical? The word yama, I mean, I'm not a Pali expert, but it's just that normally yama is considered to be the Lord of Death. And if you've seen the Tibetan Wheel of Life, you know, it's a very popular illustrative picture about samsara. So Yama means the Lord of Death, that it holds everything in its grip. So it doesn't refer to an actual person, although maybe in some commentaries or when you're reading some sutra, it may seem like that, but you know, it's better just to see yama as the quality of the reality of death. And so I would say it's more mental than physical, and even the you know, all the realms, deva realms and hell realms, you're born there because of the mind. It's the mind that's attracted. Whether that place exists or not, if you don't have the mental karmic conditioning to be born in that place, you're not going to go to the place anyway. So it's really that's why I like to see everything as mental and wean people around this idea of getting addicted to physical places, because Buddhism is all about the mind and about suffering. So forget about whether these physical things are real or not. They may be not, but that's not what's important. It's because, as I've said before, even though we're on earth, right? Go into a mental hospital somewhere to somebody who's in had a psychotic break and ask him, he won't see the earth as you're seeing it because he's seeing his mental image, how his mind is creating it. Or even an animal. Animals are on the earth, but a little ant, he's not going to be seeing all these things that we see because, it's a tiny little speck on the earth. It's on the earth, but his mind is not on the earth. It's in the animal realm. So this is the way we have to really try to see the Dhamma. And even the idea of hell. If a person is totally wrapped up in their mind and seeing monsters and demons, that's hell. But that's in their mind. They're here, but their mind is in hell. So this is the way that we have, should try to see these different things that we, read about, heavens and hells and Yama, the Lord of Death, and Mara, and so on. Whether they're physically real as physical entities, it may or may not be, but that's not what's really important. What's really important is how our mind creates its attachment and its suffering based on these, things. Because basically the outside world is a projection of our mind. Okay, this next question. If we practice the Eightfold Path, will Sotapanna path instead of a stage to attain? I don't know that question, if I understand it the way it's written. Well, is Sotapanna a path or a stage to attain? Well, it's both. I mean, the path of Sotapanna, when you attain the path of Sotapanna, it means that the mind has destroyed the three fetters of personality belief, attachment to rites and rituals, and doubts. Those are the things that was holding the mind down really tightly to the earth plane consciousness. And from there, the path only leads upwards. That means to higher states of liberation. So it's not a path that you're physically walking on. It means that the path to liberation has become clear now. And that's the Eightfold Path. It's not a physical path that you're walking, it's the Eightfold Path. It's right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Right effort, mindfulness and concentration. So, and so, the path is also a stage. So you can say it's the first stage of enlightenment, or you've entered the path to enlightenment. However way you want to, explain it. So, and a Sotapanna is actual person who has, reached that level of wisdom in the mind. And then, okay, we see our friend John Wilson has put up this link to the Venerable Narada's book. And he look at that, right to the Pushpavaga he's got there. So just copy that link, put it into your browser, click it on, and you'll be there at, on chapter 4, Pushpavaga. Bingo. See how easy it is? Okay. Then keep that as a, as a reference, so that as we go through the rest of the Dhammapada, you'll have it on your instant, recall. Okay. So does anybody have any Looks like somebody else on Prashant put another link up there too. Yeah, so that's great. Thank you for putting up those links. Does anybody have any last questions on, if they want to ask a question, just through their microphone, they can.
Bhante, what is the first part of your talk? The name of that sutta with the reference to the pushpa. What was the exact name of that? Pushpa means flower.
Yes. The chapter on flowers, chapter 4 of the Dhammapada.
Right, but how did you say that? How did the word pushpa came into that?
Because it's an analogy to flowers. He was saying like a flower garland.
Right.
The Dhamma teachings of the Dhamma, like the Eightfold Path, is like a flower garland. And the Buddha had weaved these, right understanding, right thought, right speech, like beautiful flowers that he weaved together to make a flower garland. So it was an analogy to that. It is as one investigates this path, like a flower garland picks the best flowers, we investigate these qualities, steps of the Eightfold Path to see their beauty. And then the third verse that I wrote was the flowers of passion. So, the term, the word flowers, the Buddha used in, some different ways.
But he calls it pushpa, is it?
Well, that's pushpa is the Sanskrit. The actual, it's pupa. P-U-P-P-H-A is the Pali spelling, as you can see in this link. Where Sanskrit, they spell it P-U-S-H-P-A. In Pali, it's just P-U-P-P-H-A, pupa. So it's not actually pushpa. I was just using the Sanskrit because it's probably more known than the Pali.
Yeah. Okay.
Bhante.
Yes, I hear the voice of Artur.
Yes.
Coming all the way from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Bhante, can I ask you one question?
Yes. Why don't you turn on your video so we can see you?
Yes, I just opened my video also.
Oh, there we go.
The question is, in Mahayana Buddhism, they say that there is one storage of the mind they call alaya vijnana, where all our memories and karmas, actions, and all these things are storage. Is there anything similar in Theravada Buddhism about this level of the mind where everything is there from many lives? So, and if it is possible to access to this level in our mind?
Well, it's basically the Sankara Khanda, the mountain of sankharas that we've accumulated. That would be all the memories, including the memories and the emotions of all the various objects that we've ever experienced, and the perceptions also. So all the 5 aggregates, I don't think there is an exact equivalent to the Mahayana term alaya vijnana. Although you might ask some, Bhikkhu Bodhi or some Abhidhamma expert, they know a lot more technical terms than I do. But, we just call it the unconscious, the seed of the unconscious, whether you want to call it collective unconscious, individual unconscious. But the mind that's highly developed can access that. That's why people can, access the memories of the past or the Buddha could recall the past lives, right? Even back hundreds and thousands of past lives. He could remember what he had to eat, each day, 10,000 years ago or whatever. So because all these impressions somehow, we don't know how, it's not easy to explain, can be accessed. And where they are, we cannot say. It's not easy to describe it. But for convenience sake, maybe Mahayana Buddhism has called it, okay, this alaya vijnana, storehouse consciousness. It might be, it may be some reality or something. But anyway, it means that, these things can be accessed, but consciously, but only by a very developed adept. Otherwise, it's where we're coming from. I mean, basically, when you dream, all these images are coming up. This is what you could be, this is coming from the Sankara Kanda, which may be somehow connected with this alaya vijnana. But,
Okay.
yeah, that's about all I can say about it.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Okay, friends, I think we'll wrap up this discussion about this now, and we'll take a little break, and we will come back in a few minutes for some yoga stretches before we have our meditation. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, Prashant, can you get us back online? Okay. Okay, so we'll begin some yoga stretches. So try to stand straight. Relax the arms, hands at the sides. Gently close your eyes and feel your feet pressing the floor. Try to feel the height and the weight of the body over the feet. Just mentally remind yourself, standing, standing. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take 3 or 4 seconds to slowly expand the air from the abdomen through the rib cage and into the upper chest. Feel that expansion in the high upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs 2 or 3 seconds and then slowly breathe out. Feeling the last bit of air go out to the lungs. Just take a couple more deep breaths like that. We combine these movements with that same deep, slow breathing, holding the position for 2 or 3 seconds while the air is held in the lungs before returning to the starting point. Now you can open the eyes, look at your screen, I'll lead you through these movements. So on the next in-breath, push up on the, on the next in-breath, raise your arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, stretch your head back, look up at the back of your hands, stretched up. On the out breath, turn the hands down, touch the top of the head. The second time in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, so bend back a little bit to arch the lower spine. Out breath. And the third time, palms up, straighten the arms, hold that upward stretch longer, bend back a little bit. And release the fingers on the out breath, arms back to the sides. Just feel the sensations in the hands and fingers, and relax. Just keep the attention focused in or on the body, just feeling the physical sensations, vibrations on the body. Feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of the body. Just remember standing, standing. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just let the thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keep the awareness centered, grounded in the body. Now on the next in-breath, push up on the toes while raising the arms over the head like this, facing the hands toward each other and stretch up. Out breath, come back down, arms to the side, heels to the floor. Use the breathing to help lift and lower the body. In breath, lifting up. out. In. Out. Relax. Feel all the sensations generated by the breathing and exercise, stretching. So remember standing. Don't let the mind wander to the past or future. This body is the anchor for this mind to the present moment. Feeling the sensations in the body. Okay, next we'll do knee bending. So again, on an in-breath, lift up on the toes and raise the arms up front for balance. And on the out-breath, bend the knees and lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet, front part of the feet. And a deep breath to push up, using the strength of your leg muscles. All the way up on the toes. Again, out-breath. In. Out. In. The out-breath, relax. Feel the increased heart beating. Feel where the clothing touches the skin. Just remember standing. The here and now of the body. Okay, now spread your legs and feet apart about 3 feet, the wider the better. Hold the arms out to the sides. We'll do twisting from right to left. We'll breathe in. Look at the right hand on the out breath, twist around to the right. Keep the eyes focused on the hand going back. The in breath, come back to the front. Let the feet turn with the body, then the next out breath, twist to the other side. In breath, front. Just continue that, alternating sides, coordinating it with the breathing at your own speed. In breath, front. Out breath. Once more to each side. Lower the arms, relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. And the hands touching the legs. Feel the clothing touching the skin on different places. Now we'll do forward and backward bending. Just be careful with the back bends. Don't bend back too far the first time. So just let the hands touch the front of the legs. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Let the hands come down to your kneecaps the first time. Keep your head up, looking out straight ahead. Try to flatten the spine, making the back like a flat tabletop. Legs straight, arms straight. In breath, lift back up. Move the hands under the back, under the buttocks for support. Gently let the head go back. Keep the eyes open. Bend backward on the out breath, not too far. In breath, lift up. Be aware of any kind of shaking. And again, out breath, bend forward. Let the hands come down below the knees, about halfway if you can. Still keep the head up, legs straight. In breath, lift up. Again, the back bend, out breath. Try to bend back a little bit more. Keep the eyes open. In breath, carefully lift up. And third time, let the hands come down as far as you can toward the feet. And then hold that position longer. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. The in-breath, lift back up. And once more, the back bend, be careful. Out breath. In breath. On the out breath, just relax. Feel the whole body vibrating, pulsating with activated life force. Just try to feel or imagine activated life force like metta permeating and saturating all the cells and atoms of the body. Just feel that present moment awareness. Okay, now bring the feet back together. And we do one last movement, the head turning. Standing straight on an in-breath, turn your head to the right as far as you comfortably can. Try to look over your right shoulder. Turn your eyes to the right. On the out breath, turn 180 degrees back to the left. To look over the left shoulder. Just concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Imagining feeling them loosening up. In breath back to the right. Out breath left. Once more to each side. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the center. Just feel the whole body. Just remember standing, standing. Okay, we'll come back to our seats now and get ready for the sitting meditation. I'm going to turn off my video as usual for the meditations. I'll help you keep your attention focused in your own body. Just try to sit straight, keeping the spine and the back of the neck in a straight line. Try to find that center of gravity of the head and spine over the hips. or that tipping point where the body could either go forwards or backwards. Keep the chin lifted up, level to the floor. Just place the hands, one on top of the other in the lap, resting on your legs. And gently close the eyes. And first of all, just focus your attention where the buttocks press the seat. Feel that weight of the body pressing on the seat. See if you can notice or feel each buttock, the right or the left buttock, some sensation. Feel that solid contact. It's called the earth vibration. The feeling of something being solid. Just remind yourself of sitting the present moment. You can feel the way the legs are bent underneath. And feel your feet and toes. Just let the awareness kind of scan the bottoms of your feet. Feel the heel, the arch, and the toes. You can do both feet together or one at a time. Just to feel some sensation. Should be lots of sensations in your feet and toes. It's also the earth vibration. Feel where the feet are crossed or touch each other. Again, remind yourself of sitting, just the here and now of the body, the entry point to meditation. Now feel your hands and fingers, whether rest on the legs or touch together. Should be lots of sensations in your hands and fingers, subtle pulsations, tingling sensations. And keep remembering sitting. Now feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Feel that sensation of the arms hanging. Feel where the clothing touches the skin of the shoulders or upper arms. You might feel the sensations on the chest also. And now feel the head balanced on top of the neck. And try to find and maintain that center of gravity of the head and spine over the hips. Keeping the chin lifted up level to the floor. Just feel the face. And just imagine or feel the skin of the face stretched over the front of the skull. Feel that stretched feeling. The forehead or the nose, or the chin or the cheeks. Some subtle little prickling sensations. You just mentally remember sitting, sitting. And feel the lips touching together. The upper lip touching the lower lip. Feel any sensation of dryness or moistness in the lip. Feeling the water vibration. And try to feel the tongue laying in the mouth, where the tongue touches any teeth. Just feel those raw sensations. Now feel the eyes in the sockets, and the eyelids stretched over the eyeballs. You might notice some light or color, or a mental image. Or just darkness. Feel the subtle eye movement, the blood pulsing in the capillaries of the eyes or eyelids. And from that point behind the eyes, just try to be aware of the outline of the sitting body. As though you're kind of looking in a mirror, the center of a mirror, but you can still see the periphery of the edges on the mirror. By just relaxing the eyes, feel like the feet or toes, buttocks underneath, the arms at the sides, skin touching the clothing on different places. the head on top. You don't have to look for anything, just be relaxed. It naturally appears in the mind's eye. Just sitting. It's the natural body-centered awareness. Present moment awareness. Just try to hold that outline of the body and the mind's eye. And then begin some deep, slow breathing. Feel the more dynamic, expanding and contracting sensations in the middle of that sitting body. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds to feel the pause, to feel that subtle oxygenation of the blood. Feel the relaxing contraction of the out-breath. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Just take a few more deep, slow breaths like that. Cultivating this basic mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. And now we're going to count the breaths from 1 to 10. Try to gain a more focused concentration. Still keep the attention focused in the center of the body. Continue to do some deeper breathing if you can. With the next expanding in-breath, mentally count to 1. Feel the brief pause. With the contracting out-breath, count 1. 1 complete round of breathing. And the next in-breath, 2. The out-breath, 2. In-breath, 3. Out-breath, 3. In-breath, 4. Out-breath, 4. In-breath, 5. Out-breath, 5. In-breath, 6. Out-breath, 6. In breath 7. Out breath 7. In breath 8. Out breath 8. In breath 9. Out breath 9. In breath 10. Out breath 10. Now discontinue the counting. Discontinue any controlled breathing. Letting the breathing return to its shorter, uncontrolled rhythm. But continue to feel it, to follow it with concentrated mindfulness. Just try to feel the touch of the clothing against the stomach, rib cage, or chest as it expands and contracts, creating friction, sensations. When you feel the breathing, that's what you really feel. Know when the breath is coming in. And knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it with the alert awareness, moment by moment. Try to feel the whole cycle of the breathing, the whole in-breath, from beginning to end, the brief pause, the whole out-breath from beginning to end, and the brief pause. And during the brief pauses, feel that outline of the sitting body. You can make these brief mental rememberings of in sitting, out sitting, in sitting, out sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous connection to this breathing body in the present moment. In sitting, out sitting, over and over and over again, developing concentration, concentrated awareness. And try to notice how each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes you feel it more in the abdomen. Sometimes you feel it more in the rib cage or chest. It's always changing. called mindfulness of breathing. Breath by breath, moment by moment. This body is the laboratory. Be like the scientist sitting in the laboratory, looking down through the concentrated awareness. It's the microscope. Feel this living, breathing body. This breathing body is the home for this mind and consciousness. This is the earth in that Dhammapada verse. Who will comprehend this earth element, this body and mind. At the same time, be alert for the mental activity, thoughts arising, urging, perceptions. Letting go of them. Just letting the stream of thoughts and perceptions come and go in the back of the awareness. Just keeping the sensations of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. Even while you're focused on the breathing, you can also easily see other sensations coming and going all around, in and through that breathing awareness. Itches, prickling sensations, aches or pain, different parts of the body. In sitting, out, sitting, always coming back to recenter, reground, and the breathing body. breathing body is the natural lifeline, life connection to the present moment. We lose that connection to the breathing body, and the mind gets easily lost in the thoughts of the past and future, emotions, worry, fear, anxiety, suffering. This breathing body has been with us from the moment of birth until the moment of death. It's the only thing that we've always had. Our only friend. Everything, every other person will leave us, betray us. The breathing body will be there till the very end, to the very last breath. That connection to the present moment. And it's all just beneath your nose. The present moment. In sitting. Out, sitting. If you're familiar with the 5 aggregates, try to identify the 5 aggregates. They're all right there in front of you. Material vibrations, pleasant or painful or neutral sensations, perceptions, mental images, a recognition of objects. Various thoughts, memories, emotions, and the consciousness. And thoughts of I, me, or mine. This is me, this is my body. That's who understands this earth. The attachment to these 5 aggregates is the earth. What keeps the mind, the gravity that keeps the mind bound to the wheel of birth and death. Just try to observe that moment by moment. Understanding this body is just like foam. all those fizzing, vibrating sensations, energy vibrations are just like a lump of froth, which are just the billions of electrons vibrating, giving the feeling or appearance of something solid, but it's a mirage. If you find the mind totally lost in thought, recognize it as lost. Find the body sitting on the earth. Take a couple of deep, slow breaths, bring the mind back into the earth, back into the body. Sound vibrations coming and going in the background. Those are also just empty sound vibrations. Perceptions are what turn it into some kind of solid object, like somebody's voice. Just beholding the flow of impermanence. Different moments of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, thinking. The 5 aggregates arising and vanishing. Arising and vanishing. The present moment awareness. So what kind of perceptions arise based on that sound vibration? It's the mind turning an empty sound vibration into the idea of some object. Sabbe sankhara anicchati. Sabbe sankhara dukkhati. Sabbe dhamma anattati. Yada panyaya pasati. Atani bindati dukhi. Isamagu visuddhiya. All conditioned things, the 5 aggregates of clinging, are impermanent. All impermanent things have clung to with ignorance bring suffering. And all dhammas, the conditioned as well as the unconditioned, are without any owner or controller. They're without self. When one understands these 3 characteristics with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to freedom. And thus spoke the Buddha. Okay, now take a few deep, slow breaths and spend a few minutes just radiating out vibrations of piti and metta toward ourselves and all other beings. Just fill up the lungs, feel that expansion in the chest, hold the air in the lungs as long as you comfortably can to feel those energizing, oxygenating energy. Imagine that as metta, pure energy, pure wisdom, pure love, filling up, flooding your body and mind, and feel that relaxation on the out breath. Try to keep in touch with all those subtle body sensations, which is the piti sensation, which is also sending metta to your own body and mind, doing something good for your body and mind. Concentrated awareness. And just cultivating these thoughts of, may I be well, peaceful and wise. May I be free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance. Free from pain, sorrow, and sufferings that come about because of such unskillful thought, speech, and action. May I have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May I continue to deepen my understanding of the Dhamma, understanding of this earth, and the practice of meditation to free the mind from confusion and suffering. And try to continue taking some more deep, slow breaths, and then gradually send out these waves of metta and piti vibrations to your family members, or friends, relatives, colleagues at work, neighbors. So the idea that may all of them be well, happy, and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from self-created sufferings of body and mind. May they also have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May they be well, peaceful, and wise. Try to continue to keep taking some deep, slow breaths, holding in the breath several seconds, and on that out breath, just imagine sending these waves of thought, energy, piti, metta, outward. If you're in the area of Washington, D.C., imagine sending these thought vibrations to the Capitol, the White House, where all this chaos has been happening. Imagine these vibrations soothing the negative atmosphere, just sending these thought waves out further, even out around the whole earth. With the idea that may all living beings be well, peaceful, and wise, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from the self-created sufferings of body and mind. May all beings have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May all beings be able to hear the teachings of the Dhamma, to learn and practice meditation, to help free their minds from confusion and suffering. May all beings be able to live peacefully and harmoniously together, understanding the ultimate nature of this body, mind, and life according to Dhamma. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. Just like a mantra reverberating throughout space. Well, peaceful, and wise. I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times. Slowly finish the meditation. Place your hands together at the chest on a long out breath, chanting that word sadhu, feeling those long vibrations. Sadhu. Place your hands at the edge of the knees and take one more deep breath. As you breathe in, stretch your head back, arch your lower back, pulling the hands against the knees, arch back. And lift the head up on an in breath, and on the out breath, press the chin to the top of the chest to stretch the neck vertebrae. And lift the chin up level on the in breath, and relax on the out breath. Put a smile on your face. So friends, I hope this first week of this new year is going fairly peacefully, even despite all the chaos emanating from Washington, but still we can keep our minds calm and peaceful and not let that agitate us too much. And you can see our friend here, the lion, our mascot, is giving you all a shout out for the new year, telling you to be well, peaceful and wise. Okay? So, wish you all the best. See you again next week or on Wednesday. Don't forget mindfulness today keeps dukkha away. Don't forget your M&Ms. And for those who are, living in the fairly close by the Lion of Wisdom Center here in Maryland, we're having starting a new Saturday afternoon meditation class, kind of designed for beginners. It's an in-house program, not on Zoom. There's a Friday evening meditation session from 5:30 to 7, and then they'll be starting this next Saturday on sort of like a mini DOM, but it's just from 2 to 4:30 in the afternoon. But it's designed for more beginners, so I'll be giving guided meditation. We'll be doing a shorter period of meditation, 30 minutes, and then standing and walking, time for some questions and answers, or a short talk. So for those who are living nearby and like to come participate in that, let us know though by an email to info@lionwisdom.org, because we want to also kind of keep the limited to about 10 persons. That's why I created an extra class, because there's more people wanted to also join, but didn't want too many people coming on one class on Friday evenings. Okay? So anyway.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Namo
Buddhaya.
Namo Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante. Namo Buddhaya.